Hey, hi, Lisa Marie here. Well, my husband got me this nifty new gadget that we're going to try out. Unfortunately, it isn't out in front of me, and I'm really bummed that you're looking at my nose this whole time. But whatever. We are going to start walking. I set my timer for about 30 minutes so that if we're walking and talking and it gets about that time, that's what I want to do. So, hey, Tammy, how you doing? Some of you actually were able to go to the Obesity Help Conference this last weekend, and we learned so much. There was just so much that, man, we need to be a sponge. But today, it kind of popped into my head as I was making my meal prep. Woo, see, we bounce a lot. As I was doing my meal prepping and thinking, okay, I've got all my meals out, but I didn't actually calculate them prior to putting them basically in my lunch bag. And I have since done that. Most all of them are in my lunch bag, so I just need to show it on the video. But how do you track? Do you track? What do you track? Log. And if you don't, why not? And if you do, why? What is it that gives you that desire or that incentive to actually track things? And a lot of things popped into my head, especially from this conference, that we need to track our food, of course, but then our water, our fitness, our sleep. Truly, if you get less than 6 hours of sleep, it does something crazy wonky to your body and your metabolism and your nerves and your digestion, everything, all your organs and everything. Everybody's body, in order to not gain weight or hold on to the weight and be able to actually process to lose weight, needs at least 6 hours of sleep. Just science is proving that that's how God designed our body. So I'm walking in the parking lot. Are you walking too? Are you walking and talking? I can't see if anybody's saying anything though. How do I do this? Let me get to where there's not the bad glare of the sun. There we go. How about this? Okay, well, I guess it does show up if somebody types something. So, I think a big thing that is the reason for tracking, whether you're brand new, 6 months out, a year out, 2 years out, once you start hitting plateaus, hey, Tammy and Linda, how you doing? Once you start hitting plateaus and or you start gaining weight, how do you know? How do you know what to look at? How do you know if there's something broken or wonky or working or not working? How do you know if you don't track? How do you know? How can you go to a nutritionist or your surgeon or a doctor? It is a beautiful day. Whoop, whoop. I'm actually a little chilly, but it's supposedly a nice day to everybody else. So how do you track? How do you track, Linda? Or do you? And what do you track? And why? Why do you track? I mean, do any of us have what I would say skinny friends or thin friends that have been that way all of their life or as long as we've known them. Do any of you have any of that? Do you watch them? Do you see what they do? Do you imitate them? Have any of them been thin and healthy pretty much for a long time and then started having issues with their weight? And if so, looking at them and being observant, maybe thinking back in time, oh, I guess this thing isn't going to work very well because it's a little heavy on my neck. Have you noticed something in them or their habit or their routine that has changed? And if so, what is it? Kind of like with us. When we had our weight loss surgery, what did we do? We looked at everybody who's had weight loss surgery, right? And I did it too. When I was doing my research, we had about 25 people that I ended up learning. I only knew of 2 at first, but learned about people that had had weight loss surgery. And some, by society's standard, would say we're very successful. They lost weight, they lost a lot of weight, they've completely changed. Then by society's standards, some of those people kept it off, hence why they thought they were successful, and some did not. Some regained. Some regained a little, some regained a lot. Some didn't lose very much. Some didn't lose anything at all, or to what people thought anyway. And we have some people in the live support groups that I go to that started out in over 500 pounds. I was going to say 500 calories. Oh, golly. 500 pounds. And they've lost 200 pounds. So by the world standards, society, they're still heavy, but they don't realize that they're being successful. So you try to track to keep track. I don't always do like I should, though. Yeah, I know, we don't. So, what's your thoughts? If you could only track one thing, what do you think's the most important thing to track? For us after weight loss surgery, what's the most important thing to track? For me, because I really do. I think food and water, sleep, fitness, emotions, that's another one. I'm thinking that sometimes, for us after weight loss, we really almost need to track them all because they all seem to affect each other. If we know about our emotions, or if we're tracking our food and kind of logging on the side when we ate, what was going on, maybe who we were with, because that affects things sometimes, that would then show us patterns and habits, or maybe not something that's actually a pattern and a habit by itself, but then it led to a continuous pattern and a habit. Like meeting friends at a bar after work. Starts out simple enough, right? Starts out just meeting them. You're already full. Maybe you had your late snack, so it's not time to eat, and you just get a beverage. And the first couple of times you do it, you stick with your water and lemon, and maybe water, lemon, and a Splenda, cheapy lemonade. Then gradually you go to an iced tea. Then gradually you go to a frou-frou virgin drink, because you got to drive. And then you go to an actual adult beverage. Well, Then you're there for 3 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. Guess what? You get hungry. Well, most bars don't have healthy options. They're all fried, battered, dipped, sugar-coated, salt-coated things. Even wings. If you could get plain wings and have your sauce on the side, but they don't even give you healthy options of sauce. It's all crazy kinds of barbecue sauce, or maybe dip. I guess maybe you could get like a ranch dip or something. But I don't know too many places that have healthy options. So, what started out as a simple thing has then turned into a habit. And if you don't track that, when you go to look at your world 6 months from now and you think, what the heck happened? How did I gain 15 pounds? How did I gain 20 pounds? If you don't have that tracking piece to actually go look at, then you can't see where it started. Just got your order from Kibosh. Excited to try them. Yay! I just got the email, or not an email, I just got a text that they're out for delivery. Woo. So I'm thinking I know what hubby and I are having for supper tonight. I can't wait. What are you going to put on yours? What are you going to have? Talking about tracking, huh? We could track our mail. We could track our deliveries. We could track drivers that are picking us up. We could track our kids if we strategically place a device. What is that? Oh, Linda. Kibosh, I did a video in the page here when I was at the conference, and it's this lady that is incredible. Her and her daughters, they make crusts. Like for pizza, some of them you can put in a pie dish and make like a dessert. But they make these crusts with natural flours, almond, coconut, there was another one. If they have any kind of a sweetening in them, they use monk fruit and natural things. But they're, you've heard of cauliflower crusts, right? Well, she has cauliflower, she has broccoli, I'm pretty sure broccoli, spinach, zucchini, what was some of the other ones? A pumpkin zucchini, kale. Oh my gosh, that one was so good. And what was so amazing about them is they didn't taste like the vegetable per se, depending on what you put on top of it, but they're thin and they're basically a pizza crust. And oh my gosh, they just had so many that they offered. They had a 4-pack and they had an 8-pack. And it was really hard to decide, but I had samples there, but I really wanted to see how my stomach would respond. So we got the small one. We got the 4-pack because I have thrown away so much food. I wasted so much money because of something that seemed good at the moment. And then my body said, yeah, no, not so much. So kind of back to the tracking. Now, okay, here's the other thing. If we're tracking our food and we're not tracking our water, and we are tracking when we eat the food, are you just assuming that you're getting enough water in between? Or how do you know? Do you have a special bottle like this and you fill it up so many times and you just know that? Then no, you don't have to track it. But if you're drinking out of glasses, different glasses, different places, different times, then you need some kind of a device. And I don't have it on me, but one of my friends wears hair ties, and she puts them here. How can I show you? She puts them here on her wrist, and so she starts them on the right because she's starting on the right foot, right on track, right. She starts on the right. Oh no. How many does she have left? Oh shoot. Yes, she starts on the left. Sorry. She starts on the left and she puts 8 kind of hair ties, 8 little bands. She's also invested in those stretchy bracelets that are real pretty that you can wear with your different outfits. So she starts with 8 bands on her left, because that's how many she has left. And then when she drinks an 8-ounce serving, she moves it over here to the right, because she's done it right. And I love mnemonic devices. So that works for her. That's her way of tracking. And she literally measures 8 ounces. That's as a serving or a cup. And sometimes people do 6 ounces as a serving or a cup. Some people's bodies want 12. Remember, they say that we should be drinking half our body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, whether you're losing or maintaining, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water. And yes, your body gets used to it. Yes. Once you lose weight, you require less, and you could cut down. But I've learned also that if you just drink straight plain water, it actually can flush out your body's electrolytes. And then you start having different cramps and different issues. You need to have something to put the electrolytes back in. Okay, so sleep. You've gained weight, you're not doing so well, and you're not tracking your food, you're not tracking your water, you're not tracking anything. I would say look at your sleep. How many hours a night are you sleeping? Are you getting 8 hours? 7? 6? 4? 10? There is such a thing as too much sleep. And then it messes with your body's, not equilibrium, what do they call it? I just read something on that. But it actually defeats the purpose, and it causes problems with your metabolism. It causes problems with your nerves. It causes problems with your sleep REMs, kind of like your body's clock. If you get too much sleep. Same with you take a nap. If you take a nap, they say to take a nap for 10, 20 minutes. Don't go too much longer than that, maximum 30, because if you go more than that, it messes this whole body clock thing up. So for me, tracking is important because then I know. Because we don't know what we don't know until we know it, right? You can't know what foods you're putting too much of in or not enough of in. Too many carbs. And now complex carbs like vegetables and stuff, you can't put too many of those in. According to MyFitnessPal, you can. If you've put a goal in there of, 50 carbs, and you have a vegetable smoothie, it's going to say you've reached your 50 carbs for the day. So there's just different things. Now, I'm a paper and pen kind of girl, although I don't like the time it takes to write it down and look it up. If that's going to happen, I might as well just enter it into MyFitnessPal and be done, and off I go. Which is what I did at first. When I very first after surgery, very first thing when I was doing, all I tracked was what I ate and how much protein I had. That was it. Because I focused on protein, vegetables. Protein, vegetables. And to me, vegetables are 0. So I didn't count them. All I tracked was my protein. But I only was eating protein and vegetables. I wasn't really adding in any kind of carbs. I just wasn't. Then once I went past the pureed stage and into the soft foods and the real foods, then I tracked protein and sugar. I kept anything at about 6 sugars or less. Really, it was almost always 0, but for here and there, if I had something that was processed, like a a protein bar, I made sure the serving that I was eating had 6 grams of sugar or less. A couple of nutritionist friends I have now, a little time out, they say keep it in the single digits. So you can go up to 9 per serving, per meal. I just kept it at 6. I don't remember why, if that's what my surgeon suggested, if that's what, because for almost a whole year, 10 months, I basically did it on my own through my surgeon from Mexico and what he suggested. So I just totally focused on protein. And my portions were so little that by the time I had the protein and a couple of bites of vegetables, somebody lost a thing. I didn't have any room for anything else. So I just, that's how it was. And looking now, one of the things that was really interesting at the conference, a lot of them put focus on tracking as well, because the same thing that I say, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And how can you know it if you don't track it? And tracking for a day, unless you truly eat the same thing every day, every meal, tracking just one day is not worth it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That does not give you a true guide of what you're doing. And what I've been reading, a lot of nutritionists and my nutritionist friend that I have and different nutrition coaches, they want you to track every day for a month, 30 days, 4 weeks. Yeah, for a month. Everything. I call them my BLTs, your bites, licks, and tastes, as well as your meals. Everything, anything that goes into your mouth, you write it down. Kind of like the slogan this weekend, if you bite it, write it. That was one of the sessions that we're in. She kept focusing on that. If you bite it, you write it. Joked that we need to make a bumper sticker, and I'm like, ooh, I should do that. But I agree. I wrote down everything. And no, MyFitnessPal doesn't have a way to say you had 1 M&M. So I guess it. I mean, if a serving was 32 pieces or whatever it said, I would divide that up. And if I couldn't go small enough, I would just calculate whatever the smallest one was that it offered. And that's how I logged it. I don't know why I said M&M. Heck, I didn't have M&Ms for like 2 years. And then I had 1 and put it in my mouth, savored it, sucked on it, let it last a whole long time. But tracking, so if you're a paper and pen person, if all you do is write down what you're eating and the time, maybe what you're feeling, and if you can look up one part of it, look up the protein. Look up the protein. While you're in there, I mean, you can look up the carbs and the fat and the sugars and the fibers and all that, but you're going to make yourself crazy. If all you tracked was a protein and what you were feeling when you ate it, I would say there's patterns. There's patterns that are going to show up. And if you start writing down, I had a cookie, I had cake, I had this, I had that, and there's no protein in it, hello, there's a big clue of why you're stalling or gaining. Because there's no nutritional value in it. None. So what type of tracking things do you use? There's paper and pen. There's Berrytastic. There is MyFitnessPal. There is, I wish I could look on my phone at the same time as talking and walking. There's one that, I forget what it's called, but it's a donut. of all things, their app is a donut. Wow. That's a pretty good one too, and they have a much bigger database than they did a couple years ago. Verytastic. Bariatric Pal is another one. Another one called Verytastic, something. There's a lot of different programs out there that help us track things. So here's the thing: if you do MyFitnessPal, say, "Oh hey, find a penny, pick it up. Rest of the day you'll have good luck." And look, it was heads up. Heads up, man. Brain, sorry. When you log stuff in MyFitnessPal and you set your goals, most of us eat anywhere from 600 to 900 calories a day. We don't eat the 1,000 to 2,000. It lets you put things in up to 1,000, but then at the end of the day, when you do complete the diary, complete something, you hit complete, it's calories. It's going to show you a whole bunch of red on the screen and say, you don't meet this, you don't meet that, blah, 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 blah. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. It doesn't matter. You just need the tracking of what you're doing. It's based on normal bodies that haven't had surgery that need at least 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day. So that's why it does that. But don't be dissuaded by it. Still track, still complete, still have it entered in there, because it's a way to track it, and then you can print it. And I'm pretty sure with all the other apps you can track. I'm taking this off my neck. You can track and get that way too. Hey, Amy. So we've already done 30 minutes of walking and talking of tracking and what type of tracking everyone's doing or not doing and why it's important. And to me, it's important because we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And the only way we can adjust or tweak what we're doing is if we know what we're doing. And that's why it's so important. So for me, tracking my food is definitely important. Tracking my sleep is important. And then your water, of course, and your fitness. And interestingly enough, a lot of our head stuff is if we tracked our emotions. So like for me here at work, in the afternoon when it gets more stressful and urgent things seem to come in, of course, right at the last half hour to hour of the day, that's when all the urgent stuff comes in, and that's when I'm more apt to be stressed and do mindless eating. So something that one of the ladies said, or the men, I think several of them did actually, and that I put in my new way I'm doing my logging, was stay ahead of hunger. So if you know your body needs fuel every 2 hours, then every 2 hours, give yourself something to eat. You made 3 different chaffles. Woohoo! Bagel, Boston cream, and maple bacon. Wow. Those are pretty awesome. I accidentally threw away my waffle iron, so I don't have a way to make them, but I'm very interested in the different recipes. So for me, if I stay ahead of hunger in the afternoon, it is eating every 2.5 hours. So it is now 12. Oh, you use those Devion flavors. Or Devotion? Devotion. The samples that they gave us, right? That's all those different things. Oh, that's a good idea. So like right now, it's 1:15. I will be having my fuel about 1:30. 2:30, 3:30, 4 o'clock. Yep. Between 3:30 and 4:30 is when it's so stressful for me. And I just know I need to either have a Tide Me Over, a TMO, handy, or one of my meals handy, so that I can have fuel and reach for that instead of the crazy stuff that they have at the end of the desks, which are, those little packets at the end of the counter in our department where they put all the junk stuff. It's crazy. So we need our emotions. We need to know what the different emotions are. Or what is it? What about if every time you visit your friend Susie, and she's a Debbie Downer, and every time you're with her and in her presence, you eat uncontrollably, or you partake in fried, fatty things that aren't healthy. If you write that down and you kind of write the scenario of what's happened, when you go to look back and why did I just gain 5 pounds? You could see the pattern. But without tracking and logging this, there's no pattern. You can't see a pattern because you don't have a pattern. Because you can't look at a pattern. Get it? So I'm hoping I have actually updated the page that I did in my composition book, which is 2 pages. I've condensed it down to 1 page, and I'm trying to get it posted into the additional pages, additional files page here, group, whatever, and it won't let me save it. I don't know why. It's not too big. It's not too big. I looked at, it can only be 100 megabytes, MB, and my thing is like 600 KBs. So I don't know why. I don't know why it's not allowing me to save it, and it's very frustrating. But that's the end of our walk and talking. And Amy, please share your recipes, share what you did, share pictures. Post them in here. Let us know what you thought, how they taste, and are you able to make them ahead and then store them? And if so, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Because I'm interested. That would be fun. I could see going, if we could store them and reheat them somehow, and I could go to a friend who has a waffle maker and make a whole bunch of them and then freeze them or whatever, that would be awesome. I would love it. So share it, please. My husband Philip is home now. Hey Philip, how you doing? So cheese, eggs, and cream cheese. That was it. And then that little flavor packet, that's all you did? Wow. Okay. I'm interested. Show us. Share. Cool. Well, y'all have a great rest of the day. And today is October 9th. Wednesday, and guess what? A W for Wednesday, and 3 fingers for 3 years. Today is my 3-year surgiversary. I was actually, about this time, I was probably walking around too. Get a mini dash waffle maker. A mini dash waffle maker. Where? Where do you get it? Online, probably, of course. Amazon. I'm trying to get to where there. Ooh. Squinting in the sun here. Probably Amazon. How about Walmart? Does Walmart have it? I'm unfortunately an instant gratification gal, and I want to have it now. The thing is, my husband's tempted to get the pizza chef pizza something that the lady had at the conference, because it was this big thing, and then the lid closed like this, and it cooked the pizza, and then it was done, and there wasn't all this whole oven issue stuff going on. And he kind of liked that gadget. So I kind of see a pizza oven in our future, or a pizza whatever. Oh, Bed Bath & Beyond. Ooh, and I think I even just saw a coupon come. Okay, so for reals, it's been 30 minutes. Hope you walked with me that whole time. It felt good. I feel good. It's a nice day out. I'm a little chilly. But I'm going to go actually have my lunch for the rest of the time. Yes, Walmart and Kohl's have them. Okay, Dash is the brand. Oh, okay. And there are others that work well too. Awesome. Thanks, Tammy. I will have to check that out. And then, okay, I'll be making them. So you guys have to share your recipes Share what you've done, share what works, and what's better, if you cook it like the waffle thingy says, or do you cook it longer, and then how much do you pour into it? Because that's always been my problem. Do you use, half a scoop of, a half a cup of the batter? Do you use a quarter cup of the batter? What do you do? Because my portions are little. So I'm interested. Okay? Please tell us how you track too. What are you doing? What's working for you? What are you finding that works? What are you finding that doesn't work? I mean, there's definitely some of us find that certain things don't work, which is why my bullet journal keeps changing. Because all of a sudden something I was tracking doesn't work for me anymore, and I'm tired of seeing a blank box. So that's okay, just change it. But have a great rest of your day. Thanks for walking and talking. Thanks for sharing all of your ideas and what's working for you. And I'm anxious to see your chaffles. Okay? Have a great rest of the day. Talk to you later. Bye. Maybe.